Loud.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call this meeting of the Planning Board for the Town of Selma to order. We'll do a quick roll call. Ms. Bailey,
Present.
Ms. Salt, Vice Chair,
Present.
Todd Holmes, I'm the chairman. I'm here. Mr. Nixon.
Here.
Here. And we have two board members who are not here this evening, Mr. Bruce Bartlett and Ms. Trella Watson. We do have quorum though, so we have 4 of our 7 seats are present, so we are able to conduct the business of the planning board this evening. I know we have a full agenda for this evening. Everyone will take just a second and look it over. Planning board members, if you have any questions, comments, additions, anything like that to the agenda.
Mr. Chairman, we do have one issue we'd like to ask for.
Yes, sir.
You have a staff report for a voluntary annexation. Initiated voluntary annexation position.
So we'll add that as agenda item G. And so let the record show Ms. Watson is here. Thank you, Ms. Watson. So we'll add that as agenda item under business. We'll add that as item G. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Reed. Okay. So is there a motion to approve the minutes with the, I'm sorry, to approve the agenda with the slight revision? That's okay.
So moved.
Okay, is there a second?
That's it.
All those in favor of approving the agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Right, thank you. And then the minutes from our January 22nd meeting. Ms. Salt, did you send in a couple of revisions for this?
I did, and Johnson has made them.
And they've been made there. Okay. So any questions, comments, concerns regarding the minutes from the January 22nd meeting? Is there a motion to approve the minutes as presented?
So moved.
Is there a second?
That's it.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, so the minutes from our January 22nd meeting are approved as well. All right, so let's jump into it. Business item 4A, the Joco Dream Center.
That's down the
So at this time, we will open for public hearing to hear from any of the applicants regarding this request. All those in favor say aye. Thank you.
staff report is, y'all can do it.
I'm sorry, the
Motion is second.
motion, Ms. Salt. Make a motion. Okay. Is there a second? Okay, all those in favor? All right, thank you. Thank you, Dalton, for making sure we are following our protocols.
The planning department has put over this, special use permit application. First step is the planning board. Proposal establishing the church as a temporary emergency shelter for homeless individuals during severe weather. Local business and town council. The request must be officially named in a special use permit request for town ordinance. The planning board must offer an advisory opinion for council consideration. I believe the applicant is here. This is currently a church.
That's correct.
It is a church. But I mean, it's
Correct.
well established. Y'all, right?
Correct. We've had the Temple City Church name for a couple of years, Temple Baptist prior.
I do have a question in reviewing the special use permit application. I think it's really a great service to the community. I did have one question that is on the, it's page 20 of our packet. It's where, does Selma have a fire marshal?
Dual purpose fire chief.
Okay, I just wanted to double check.
Dual purposes. Fire
Thank you, Phil.
So what would you like to share with us this evening?
Well, I would like to share, so Temple is, as he said, a very well-established church in the area. We do a lot of outreach and community services. We have been doing a homeless outreach for the past 5 years in Selma, Smithfield, and Kinley. And each year, or each month, we have between 45 and 50 individuals that we serve. They're not all the same every month. Probably 25 are the same. We work with 25 extras that come in and out of the community. In that time, we have worked very hard to help many of them find jobs, find housing, treatment for addictions or mental health issues. So we try to be kind of a, just an advocate for them. And so in doing this, we've seen that the resources are really lacking in some areas. Definitely when it is 20, 25, 30 degrees out there, it is very detrimental to their health. On January 19th, we had 2 individuals. One went into ICU for hypothermia. Another one came to us, and he was completely blind in one eye, pretty much about 85% blind in the other eye. He was unable to care for himself, incontinent, etc. So we worked with the hospital and Adult Protective Services to get him into an assisted living. So he's now in Newbern. We just received a picture a few days ago, and he is really doing well, and he is where he needs to be. Since we started just working on this application to get this approved, we provided 3 bikes for different men to be able to get back and forth to their jobs. We provided 2 people with identifications. So a lot of times it requires a letter of homeless verification. So we will write those letters to help them get that ID. We've helped 2 get food stamps and Medicaid. We've gotten 1 into JCI, so they're going to go through their program that will help them with job training and housing. 2 have gone into rehab facilities. 1 has gone into an Oxford house. And as I mentioned, the medically fragile gentleman who is now in assisted living. But it's more than all of that. It's building relationships with them. As we do that, we earn the right to be able to speak into them what could change their life. A lot of times they're out here and they're lost, especially if they're struggling with an addiction. So Temple has a Recovery Alive program and 2 sober living homes. So we work really hard to help them see that they can make a change. Just this past Friday night, one of our homeless actually was baptized. And he is the one that we're working to get into JCI. So it's more than just giving them a safe, warm place to sleep. But we do feed them as well. I mean, the plan is to feed them and help them out. And then while we've got them in there, we're talking to them, we're working with them, finding out what their needs are and moving them forward out of this. So, if we can get them into a shelter, that means they're not roaming the streets at night. They're not getting into trouble for that night. And again, we're just working with them to try to identify, working with families, to restore the families as well. Sometimes it's been years since they've talked to someone in their family, and we can connect them and they can go home and begin that recovery process there. So my request is that you approve this so that we can continue to work with them and move them forward in this area.
I have a question. Is your name Regina Rogers?
Yes, ma'am.
Located here in Selma?
I live in Kinley, but I attend Temple. I've been a member there for almost 9 years.
Just to be clear, no construction involved in this project. It's just the same building.
That's right.
Same function, it's just this function requires special use.
Yeah. We have mobile units on the back of the property, and one will house the women, one will house the men. There will be no construction or any kind of changes whatsoever. Because of the many things that happen at the church, the shelter would not be able to open until 9 p.m. and then about 7:30 in the morning they would be released. we plan to do drop-offs and pickups, so they'll be released. But that gets them into a place overnight because, a lot of they used to hang out in McDonald's or Walmart overnight. COVID came and took away all the 24-hour places. But again, if we can get them off the streets, that's that many less to get into trouble in one way or another.
Is there any other questions? So, so we're clear, the planning board, our purpose is not to approve or disapprove, it's to make a recommendation to town council. Correct. Okay, so, is there a motion that we recommend to council that the special use permit, oh, sorry. Oh. Okay, so we'll close the hearing. No one else has anything else to add? We'll close the hearing at this time. Thank you for being here. We appreciate it. Is there a
I
motion?
move to close the hearing.
I said,
All those approved? 12 years of graduate school. Not here for this. So is there a motion to accept what was presented this evening?
Make a motion that we accept the testimony presented today.
Is there a second?
second.
Okay. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All right. So, at this time, is there a motion to recommend to council that they approve the special use permit?
I make a motion that we make a recommendation to council to approve the special use permit.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? So again, our recommendation is that the council approve it. Ultimately, the decision lies with the town council. So good luck. Good luck. Thank you for being here. All right. Recreational vehicle, 4B. I've seen some stuff in our packet for that.
Right.
Again, this one is informational that thank you for asking for information. Of citizens is not in these are surrounding communities, especially ones that have been very successful in allowing these in their area.
Page 24 of 32, mark highlighted in yellow. I think this is for the town of Four Oaks. They only permitted for a consecutive 180 days. And so what happens if someone needs it for longer than that? Do they have to reapply?
Yes, ma'am, that's usually what I've seen happen, basically, it's just,
Okay. And more of a protocol.
yeah, the part, people talk about that, say they had it for whatever time limit, y'all, whatever y'all recommend, time limit. It may be, they need to stay longer, they may move to different sections of the park, it's just basically they agree, so it's not.
Okay.
The intent of that, whether it's a week or a year, is just to make this not a problem.
Thank you.
Any of the planning board members have questions for staff? And does the staff have anything specific that you want to point out to us besides sharing the
I mean,
updates?
what we really need from you guys, if you want to move forward, providing a ordinance that you can vote on. Tell us what you like, what you don't like, what you don't want to see, what is right for yourself, benchmarks. Draft this.
I'm looking at full committee available to discuss these items. So would it be possible for us, we'll keep looking at this, touch base with, Mr. Bartlett, make sure that we're all able to be here, and then we can kind of start looking at these questions and chipping away and making some notes, and then bringing those back for discussion once everyone's here. Are we in general consensus that we would like for staff to move forward with drafting some more specific items, and that might give you guys a chance to start from looking at what you've seen from the other municipalities to start to piece something together? And then when we come back in March, then we'll have some of our questions, you guys can have what y'all started on, and then we can go from there with the document, if everyone's okay with that.
I think that's a good idea. I did some research on this because we used to do a lot of RV camping. And we noticed that a lot of the older mobile home parks, as they were pulling their homes that could no longer be there, that those owners of those parks were starting to include recreational vehicles on short term in order to recap income. And things I've read, it says it's an easy transition. And we have 2 mobile home parks in Selma that are interested in this. Am I correct?
I'm not sure. I mean, I know there are some, yes.
Right. I know at least one. And with all the different companies that are coming in and doing construction and things like that, and hotels are so expensive. And the one park that's in consideration is so close to Interstate 95 and 70, and all where these people could go to work, they could park their vehicle or whatever, their RV, and walk to their local areas to get what they need. Or, it's very convenient, and it's also very economical, and it's also would provide more revenue and more value to the existing park. I'm leaning more towards having the staff to create where it would be a multi-use park. And over time, I'm sure, as mobile homes are eventually phased out, then these people are stuck with water, sewer, and electrical hookups that they're not going to be able to have income producing. So I'm moving towards the trend in my mind to get the parks to where they can be to make money.
I think we should grab some here. Discuss and see what's like.
I think,
So are you recommending that these parks, where they have these older mobile homes that are maybe out, maybe grandfathered in, but are no longer livable, that they be allowed to stay in the RVs? Did I understand that correctly? These mobile home parks that have these older mobile homes in them that maybe are no longer livable, or maybe was once grandfathered in, are you suggesting that RVs be mixed in with them as well?
if that's what the property would allow, that's what we would be discussing with the staff preparing everything for thoughts to ponder and all that, because there's a lot of big pieces of that puzzle. And I'm not sure exactly when the grandfathered homes are removed and what the process is for that, but we do have one park owner that probably knows more about that than I'll ever even dream of.
Right.
And so she could probably help you with that.
Just one more point of clarification. So would they just be with the older mobile homes, or are you recommending even the newer mobile homes or marginal homes? They would also include the RVs as well.
The current park that I'm thinking of has homes in there since the 1960s.
Right.
and those are grandfathered in. But I don't know, I know the town has an ordinance that you, once one's pulled out, one can't go back in.
Right.
So the property owner would be the one who would designate those areas within the park as to what works for the RV situation.
So you're saying leave it at the staff level, let them make that determination?
That's the staff level.
Okay.
Yes.
And so you would go forth and draft out some different proposals and we take a look at it?
Give you some options, and, you know, just the thing to clarify, it is a staff level. And we're not the board, the authority,
Right.
we have to have some your direction to go by, we can take a lot of things out of coming from a special use permit, coming from, you know, everything, but what I foresee is, some areas in the zone being designated, like you said, and it may be an expansion, it may not be just replaced.
Right.
Maybe we can probably talk to some of our experts, field experts, what's happening on the river. And like you said, a lot of it is being, driven by construction. It's a really good economy, and construction is one, this is a good option, folks. I used to, years ago, I had a place, you know, mobile home community. It was like a vacation time spot, and everything was camping. But, and they had a weekend spot, a night spot. And when I first started there, it was empty all winter long.
Right.
Money coming in. And as economy started getting better and better, you start seeing it fill up. And now
Absolutely.
it was full every night, all year long. And most of it was, you know, white collar workers, I mean, blue collar workers. And they're out of town for an extended period of time.
Yeah.
We had, the pipeline was built out here, we had a lot of active on here. Yeah, broke your state for 5 months.
I know, for example, Buffalo Mobile Acres and on Highway 70 near, on Garner area, they have gradually gone over to more RVs being there. And I think Ms. Kelly has a question.
So I don't know if now is the, help me with protocol, dog. Hold on, Ms. Kelly,
So there's, so this, there should be no public comment in this meeting, this. Will be, there be what's not, town council.
So, I'm, Ms. Kelly, So I'd like to remind all the people who are here this evening, we do appreciate you being here and your participation, but we do have some protocols to follow. It's not an open dialogue or a two-way discussion. Please keep that in mind for the rest of the meeting. So, moving forward, you guys are going to present a draft for
Draft
us.
something and try to add something back. Next meeting.
And then we'll touch base with Mr. Bartlett, take a look at the questions that you guys presented, and then we'll come together with that. Okay. Anything else from staff for that agenda item? Great. Let's look at board. No. For 4C. Ordinance text amendment to chapter 12. What do you guys have for us?
Get it next. Council. The first one, number 12. If you'd like, Chairman, will discuss this one more time.
That'd be great. Yes, sir.
So the first one discusses first one discusses changes Article chapter 12, Article 7, Article section 12 and 32 dash prohibits
So speaking on behalf of living on Pecan, my address is Pecan Drive. The only parking situation that I see readily is when you're coming off of Webb Street onto Pecan Drive. The intersection where Bennett hangs a left and Sharp hangs a right, there's a home at the corner, and that's where the main cluster issue is. I walk 3 miles in the neighborhood, and I probably count maybe 12 vehicles that might be parked on the street. And they're not blocking an intersection. So my point is, if it's not broke, why try to fix it? Just go to that one individual and address the situation and let them figure out where to park their multitude of vehicles.
The, ordinance does state current 50 feet from the intersection.
I'm sorry?
The ordinance currently already states 50 feet from an intersection.
Okay.
Yeah, I know our police have been looking at that lately, issues violations.
It was tough to get a fire truck around there, or I couldn't identify with that, but, yeah, I mean, there's not that much public parking in our subdivision, unless somebody's having a yard sale, or a birthday party, or Christmas gathering, some kind of gathering.
I think all those things would be taken into consideration.
Okay.
So
But
this is, I'm sorry.
there's not gonna be any marked parking or anything like that.
I mean,
Okay.
And so if someone's having a birthday party, the intention is not, there's a birthday party, people are parked on the streets, someone's gonna come by and issue tickets.
that's where it, does it say when?
So that could happen. They could, if they're having a birthday party.
Prohibited means prohibited.
Okay, okay.
Or what?
Prohibited would mean prohibited. There's no caveats in this waiver.
Well, the way it's written is not acceptable from a citizen that lives in that area. On the planning board, I do live in that area, and I just think personally that this is trying to get power where power is not needed.
I do have a question. I apologize. North Rayford, I know, is north of East Lizzie. I'm having trouble identifying that area.
North Rayford, north of East Lizzie. So,
That's not that.
let me get my eyes around it.
Okay.
I'm driving.
Going towards Kenley.
Is that where the flashing lights
So
are?
North Rayford past Lizzie Street. So from Lizzie Street, Griswold, let's see, Lizzie Street, Elm Street, Griswold Street, Florida. That's where I would be. That makes sense. So if you turn off of Paul, inside the church, park lots on one side, the next block, to the left, that's where it starts. As far as this one, that's North Rayford Street.
That's by the church?
Yeah, the church at the end, yes. That would be Rayford Street, that would be the end of where it's talking about, where it ends. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, if you're coming from the post office, you go to that stop sign at Lizzie Street. Once you cross Lizzie Street, that becomes where he's talking about.
And that would go all the way down to the, church, the daycare. With
Yeah, I agree with you.
Do I know?
I agree with you.
So just for my clarification, is, this evening, is this for information for the planning board? We make a recommendation, or not recommend, okay, I just wanna be sure. Any other comments, feedback? from
I'm
planning
just
board?
curious as to the rationale behind this. Doesn't sound like residents have requested this, so I'm wondering what's the impetus behind this?
this was submitted to staff.
We don't know whose idea it was or what they're thinking. We need to do this because blank. We don't have the blank.
Well, there has been some complaints, there has been some complaints about parking.
Other than the one house?
In that one, in, some Phelps I call it Dixie Estates, like, I call it the new section of Dixie. There's been a few complaints.
And I don't mean this to sound like I'm arguing with you,
Yes, sir.
because I'm not. But it seems to me that, you know, if it's a public street, which it is, and a residential area, people can park there except for designated areas that are no parking, like 50 feet from an intersection. But other than that, unless they're out into the street too far, that's a different issue. But if they're not out in the street,
I mean, we have current ordinances that address those areas that would be.
but, you know, I just, especially in a residential area, you know, even, like you mentioned parties, but if you have a plumber come do some extensive plumbing work for the day, they've got to pull in your driveway, and now anytime somebody in the house has to run to the store, the plumber's got to move the truck so they can get out, and then the plumber's got to move the truck again. So, I mean, it just seems like this is a solution without a real problem. That-
Well, I am of the opinion not to recommend this to council. I think if council wants this done and wants it presented, first of all, they need to get rid of this change. Because if it's not broke, don't fix it. If there are complaints, we have a police department. They know how to approach a residence, knock on the door, or ring the bell and say, this is the issue, let's fix it. We're adults, we're not children.
Any other comments, concerns, questions for staff from the planning board? Okay, so at this time, we will entertain a motion either to recommend or not to recommend approval of the ordinance to town council. So you can make a motion not to recommend, you can make a motion to recommend. So I will open it up, see who has what to offer.
I make a motion that this is not recommended to council for further discussion or approval.
There's a second. Okay. All those in favor of that motion, please say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? All right. So it's unanimous, as presented, the planning board does not recommend this ordinance as presented. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
D, chapter 13. This has to do with, you know, whichever discussion we've had, public with boards of everything is getting work, new fire thing. We've got some areas to do, so that's what this one does. Number one, it takes, 15 days down to 10 days, for abatement. A lot of that has to do with, grass. It's getting out of hand before it's abated. Waiting for, it's all of this to be a violation. Then another 15 days, in a couple days for the, get the lawn maintenance folks out. It gets pretty bad. So that is part of it. It takes out, it adds 20. It adds 20 first notice of any violation versus correct. Fine, which is what we supposed to be doing bad. That does give you 20. And then take 15 days down. It takes out, all this was about excessive, about vegetation. This takes vegetation out, so vegetation is still there, it's just all of it. So, you know, you've got any code violation, it would take it to a 10-day innovate.
So that does away with the certified mail letters and,
We still send a certified letter to the owner, but that's our way. But their receipt of it is not part of it.
Once the letter is sent, that's when the clock starts for the 10-day. I'm sorry, I do need some additional clarification, and this may be in the policy, I'm just not aware of it. So, when it's just dealing with grass for this?
Well, it was, but you'll notice at a couple places, the black house underlined, this whole code now, instead of just vegetation, will count all this as vegetation. So for example, can't put trash outside the road, that's such a certain thing. Yeah, this case. So they right now, if we talk that, like it's done, trash outside the road, it will take, by this currently, it will take us to send a letter in 15 days before we can pay. This just takes about 2. And that's for any of those code violations that are in the ordinances.
In defining trash is it talking about furniture?
I mean,
Okay,
excessive trash, basically trash should be inside the trash can.
Okay.
Not what we call CFD, bulk material.
okay,
But small, we tell people 2 loads of the dump.
okay.
That's normal. But that's just one possibility. We've got ordinances that you can't put, interior furniture on the road. You can't have appliances, you don't, anything like that, it's just short, 15 days.
And the warning will consist of a fine, which is $50,
So the warning will not have a time.
not to exceed.
It says not to exceed, but our warning will be,
Okay. And then the citation, then,
citation
Comes-
15 days after.
which could be $50 or whatever.
Yes, and most of them are 50, some are 25, traffic violations are 25. Most of them are, they're in the fee schedule.
Any other questions for staff? Any other comments from planning board members? So again, we can entertain a motion either to recommend approval or not to recommend.
Motion to recommend.
Change the ordinance.
Chapter 13, Article 3, Section 13 to 35, notice of the day.
Is there a second?
I will second that with the notations. On the first page, the second whereas, it says whereas on, there's not a date there, that the town council called for a public hearing for the meeting on January 11th. That paragraph needs some tweaking to make the dates accurate. And then on the second page, section 2, it should be the town clerk in 2 places instead of just clerk. Those are my 2 recommendations, and to add to making sure we could recommend to the council the correct document.
Ms. Watson, you accept the friendly amendment to your motion?
Yes, yes.
Second.
Okay, so there's a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, we're good with that. Thank you.
E. Chapter. Big change here in chapter 16, local business region underline. This change, mobile containers shall have their lids flush on the container upon holding place. Not in chapter 16, notwithstanding subsection provisions of this article may be enforced with laws of recycling, waste collection service privilege, and or fees of waste collection service. What this is doing is if there's a violation of a refuge, trash, overfilling, what we call overfilling, cans or lip up, recycling violation, or putting the wrong thing in recycling. Or, those 2 things. You get one, you get a fine, and on the third, or the problem with the waste, let's talk about the trash cans first. Trash cans being overfull, the third one would be required, you have a second trash can, which should solve the problem. But you would also get charged with a second trash can. It's $25 per month per can. And it says you can't request they can now, but if they did, and we kept like the third violation, they would be required to have on recycling. If recycling was contaminated, warning, violation. Third time, we take that can away, and have it, they recycle, they would have to use public containers. And then on, 16 through 24, different items were add construction waste, hazardous waste, industrial waste, and landfill waste. That would be added to prohibited items, such as tires, trash cans, TVs, things like that. So those things would be added, which we can't accept anyway. These are things that would go into your trash receptacle. And again, the purpose for this is twofold. Again, we have been asked by every committee and every citizen, in both meetings we've had about cleaning up our town. And a lot of our litter, I'm sorry, say at least the second leak cause of litter other than people don't have a window, is flowing trash. Lid wide open, trash is just going out. Recycling is an issue for the whole planet. And one thing we want to make sure is that our recycling that we pick up is going to be recycled. If 1% of a load is contaminated, in other words, it has the wrong recycling material, that whole load. So your hard work for recycling is from by my state. So that's what it's.
I understand the recycling. As far as the receptacles that hold the regular trash, having the lid closed tightly on it, if it is contained within a trash bag, and say the final trash bag that goes in there calls the lid to be open, but it's still contained within a substance, which is that trash bag, and it's closed tightly, will they still be in violation because the lid is not tightly closed?
By the litter, this ordinance change is up for discussion. It says both owners shall have their lids closed. So it is very, very specific.
Do we have an idea of what the fee would be if,
$25, all trash violations, you get one, but all of them are $25.
And that's per month, but they would have to get the additional receptacle.
Per day. Now, he's talking about the violation, that's
Oh.
per violation. But if you needed a second can, if that is an extra $25 per can.
Per month.
Yeah, just like what we're all paying now for one. We do have a lot of customers that have two already. They requested to, because they might have several bucks in the house or whatever it may be, for whatever reason of our business. But, we do have several, but this would actually require you got to set per violation.
Okay, I had one question. Of course, I still have the same few little grammatical things that need to be changed in it, but, Chapter 16, Article 8, Garbage and Refuse Collection and Disposal. When I read it, it doesn't make sense. It says, such waste matter and rubbish shall not be placed on the sidewalk or curb for town trucks to move, but shall be moved by the person, contractor, or subcontractor who caused the same to be formed. So my question is, I tear out a cabinet and I take it to the street and just, break it down. And the town usually picks that up, correct? I know I know the town employees are not allowed to come on your property and move stuff for you because that's workers' comp raising a flag. So this language is real clumsy to me.
So we give her a second.
Okay, it's under the section 1, chapter 16, right under now therefore be it ordained that.
Okay.
It just, something's missing.
So the way I'm reading that, obviously that's first put out there, but what I'm reading is, what we do, let's take it, let's take it. small construction debris is okay. You know, so a homeowner tears out a cabinet, you know, cleans out his, takes out some shelves and that. Small construction debris. Again, we've also had to, we do say 1, 2, that's normal use. But if you hire a contractor to tear out your ceiling, do just major work, takes out all your duct, that put aside the road, that is not what the town's supposed to be doing.
Correct.
And if we have to pick it up, that should be, that's gonna be an excess charge.
Correct.
That's already in the fee schedule.
Okay.
But it is a little clumsy, but, you know, knowing what we do, I do understand what it says.
Just a general citizen reading it, you kind of go, huh? And most contractors take their stuff away, which is a good thing. Most.
So should it be more clearly defined?
You know, y'all can make that recommendation, the only thing that in that subsection
Person.
this person is there, but obviously y'all can add or change to it.
Or it should be, maybe, but shall be removed instead of moved back. I don't know, this, something's just needs tightening. I'm not sure what it is.
Any recommendations? I don't want to get hung up on, I understand what you're saying, Ms. Sid, but I also don't want us to spend 30
I
minutes.
think also what's making it confusing is that particular item is item C, and it references such waste matter and rubbish. So it seems to imply that in the previous, maybe A or B, it identifies specifically the type of waste matter that's being referenced, which would separate small projects from bigger projects. And I think it's unclear to us since we don't have the other parts of the ordinance here.
That's true. What, I would like to make a motion to recommend to the council, these proposed, ordinance changes, that the attorney look closer at revising or solidifying the, language in subparagraph C of chapter 16.
So is that, Ms. Silva, is that you're asking for a clarification between what Mr. Dan was saying as far as it being a small household project versus a rebuild, new construction, or demolition? So that it's clear that it's still okay to put some stuff out, but not if you're remodeling your house.
Correct. If you're not remodeling the house, I mean, so bottom line is, I know the attorneys draft these, so my question is, or my proposal would be to make the recommendation to council to approve this amendment to chapter 16 of the Code of Ordinances of Town of Selma, with them giving more focus to that language to make it more reader friendly or something to that effect.
So is that is your motion? Okay. So it would be to tweaking the, about halfway down on page
29 of the minutes.
29 of 32, where it says chapter 16, article 8, garbage and refuse collection and disposal. We would approve the ordinance, or we make a recommendation to town council that they approve the ordinance with the caveat that they are more specific under subsection C to distinguish between regular household upgrades or throwing out a cabinet or that type of thing versus it being a more extensive project. And we'll let you guys.
I also had something to add about B under chapter 16, section 8, residential garbage collection, with it being the lid closed flush. I think that if it is loose debris that is not contained within a trash can, I think that's a concern because it can blow everywhere. But if it's inside of a if it's not contained within the trash bag, that can blow everywhere and cause debris to be everywhere, trash, does not beautify the area. But if it's contained within a trash bag, as long as it's within a trash bag, I don't see the concern with whether the lid's closed or not.
I would say if you want that in by the motion that's on the floor,
Okay.
that's not what this is saying. This is saying, period.
Right.
But by the motion that is on the floor, this means changing.
Right. So I don't know if can I make an amendment or add on to the current motion?
No,
It has to be two separate.
so what's got to have motions on the floor, somebody's got to second or it dies. If it's seconded, then it's gonna have a vote, and you obviously have a option, but how you want to. Ms. Sullivan can amend her motion. But, if it's second, it's got to go, and then whatever motion, yeah.
Thing about the lid issue for the garbage trucks is because when they put that arm around them, if the lid is up, it'll break the lid. And then you're gonna be one having to get the lid fixed.
So I've actually seen them pick it up where there has been trash bags and the lid has not been closed tightly, and it didn't disturb the lid on the container.
My concern would be if the lid's not closed tightly, we have cats and possums and raccoons that get into the trash, and if the lid's not closed, even if it is in a trash bag, when people take it to the curb, it doesn't mean that that trash bag is gonna be sealed, by the time they come around the next day to pick it up. So that's my concern.
I might do it, you might do it, but
Yeah, my concern is the citizen that does it every once in a while, but they're not taking that into consideration. So then you have a citizen that's been forced to spend an additional $25 for something that they may do 2-3 times out of the year. But according to this, after a certain time, it's an automatic requirement.
So, again, we'll go back to, here's your concern, Ms. Watson. We do have a motion that's been made. Is there a second to Ms. Salt's initial motion to approve, or to make a recommendation for town council to approve, the chapter 16 upgrades with the caveat that they've, reword some of the language under, subsection C? Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Okay, so now we have a second. We'll vote to approve the motion. All those in favor of approving the motion as presented, please say aye.
Aye.
I have a question though.
Hold on. So we have 3 ayes. Those that are opposed, say nay.
I can't comfortably say, I have to know, can I make another motion after this one, or that closes it?
When we vote on this to approve it, then what we've said here is that's going to the council.
Then, nay.
Nays. Ms. Bailey? So, we have 4-1 that is, passes or is recommended for approval. Ms. Watson, I understand your concern. Share it with the council. And again, we only make a recommendation, but the council decides on.
Would you mention to the council?
I get your concern about somebody getting a fine for something if it's a one-off or two-off. I really do. All right, last one of
Maybe not
these.
so- Maybe not so controversial. Chapter. Yeah, 17. Yeah. This one simply takes maximum building height. We had I'll explain this, we had a developer ask. I asked him, put fire chief out, and I was, why is it 25 feet? We got no explanation, it's just like a number that made me look at some time. We currently have, if you look out your back door right now, you have towers that are over that, over here by the feet mill. They're not a problem, not a safety issue. Actually, a decent factor, that's not an issue. So the area we're talking about is, I-2, zone district, which is industrial, so that would fit. So this would just simply allow us.
Okay.
I think that one, and just the text, the 75 foot per valve, and that's one thing.
Any questions, comments, concerns? We've heard from the fire chief that there's not an issue on that end. Is there a motion to, recommend town council approve this change?
Motion that town council approve change to 75.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I said,
All those in favor say aye.
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 All right, passes. Thank you. And then we do have, one other agenda item for the voluntary annexation, correct? Item G.
Red line down.
Yes.
That, these are the properties, just for reference, this is on the east side of East Street, which will be the industrial area. So if you were going down Fire Tower, it's to the left on Blank Street. That new building, built about a year ago, it's that area. There's several properties ranging from 7 to 1 acre. Together that they're asking for annexation. Voluntary annexation, so we just bring up the recommendation. Where the other is. I foresee many of these over the next few years, these field is moving. See a lot of dirt moving, a lot of fields come out of the ground. A lot of good stuff going on there, so we're very good to have anybody ever.
Any issues or concern from town staff regarding this request? Any,
Water sewer is already planned there for all utilities already.
any questions from planning board members regarding this agenda item? So is there a motion to make a recommendation to town council to approve the voluntary annexation?
so move.
Is there a second? Okay. All right, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right.
But you're not. Is a vote here, and everybody tell them from the, make a recommendation to vote, but, you would vote to speak.
So again, we appreciate the folks being here tonight, but our recommendations are just either to approve or not approve. You'll have an opportunity to share your concerns with town council, then they'll make a final decision regarding whether or not the ordinances will be passed or not. So I want to thank town staff for doing such a good job and having everything so organized for us. We do appreciate it. Our next meeting will be March
25th.
25th.
And the next council meeting is March 12th. We have leap year this year.
It's not March 13th.
It's a Tuesday, March 12th.
Okay. So, okay. So, good deal. So, anything else from the staff for us this evening? Thank you, guys. Is there a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All right.